Hey, yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got DJ Neva here.
Yo, what up?
We got DJ D-Miles.
What up?
We got Jamie the Great here. We got associate producer Nudia in the building.
Hello.
What's good, fellas? Happy birthday to D-Miles.
Oh, shit.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Finally
birthday,
21
man.
years
Thank
old.
Birthday, fam.
You know,
How you feeling? Good?
I actually feel really good.
That's good.
I'm not a big celebrator for my birthday normally, but my mom was like, "Yo, like it's your 40th. You gotta kind of
Oh, shit. The big 4-0?
You kind of gotta like just celebrate." So like, I'm not doing nothing. I didn't do nothing crazy. Just dinner with friends and family. I did that night, but
Well, happy birthday.
feel
Yeah.
good, man. Thank you. Thank you.
birthday.
Thank you.
Don't look a day over 21.
Appreciate that.
Wow. So let's get to the big question. Why did you leave Skam, D?
Birthday goes first.
I can go in, man.
Wait.
Not in that kind of way though. Not in that
No.
kind of way.
Wait. Let's take a moment for a
Take a
second.
step back. Take a LeBron James step back.
Yeah.
So as of right now, Neva, D-Miles, and myself, DJ Crooked, we're on an agency, a DJ agency, Skam Artist, well-known DJ. If you know about this shit, you in the industry, you know about this shit. I've been on it for 10 years. Neva, how long have you been on it?
I think 6 years?
6 years.
or 7 years, something like that.
D
6 for me.
6'2".
Yeah.
And then we all kind of recently left. I mean, D and I left this year.
Yeah.
And then Neva, you
I
left
left last year.
Yeah. And I think, D and I are Sleeping Giant.
Yeah.
Neva, you're with
SGM.
our homie Eddie McDonald, Mac Agency,
Yeah.
right? Local agency here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But they're not local. They do other shit.
Yeah. Out
Yeah.
of town stuff.
But yeah, D and I on Sleeping Giant. Shout out to Fresh One. Shout out to all the SD fam.
Troy Gilmore.
And I guess we
you shouting out, shout out to Eddie McDonald.
yeah.
Yeah.
I give him a
Shout out to
shout.
Omar.
Yeah.
Omar Galliano.
Omar.
OG.
I mean, we don't have to shout out Omar, but yeah.
His signature little laugh, little smirk.
Fuck you, Cricket.
Love that.
Anyway, we all announced it pretty much. Well, D and I announced it.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to know why
The big
we
question.
left Skam. You know?
Yeah.
People have been hitting me up. Like, yo, why did the guys leave?
I
How long
know.
has it been in the works?
Even before I left, people were like, "Yo, what's going on? Crooked left? Like, what the fuck?" Like,
Yeah, I got
it
the
kind
same
of like was
question.
an industry shakeup.
Well, the thing is, like, most people leave Skam, because they're not working or they're not making money.
Personal reasons too.
Mostly it's about gigs, though, right? Like,
Yeah, it has to be.
in most
That's an
cases.
underlying issue.
Like, and so for me, I guess people are like, "Yo, you're still kind of working. Your shit's like steady. Why would you leave
Yeah. What's in?
if the shit's not broken?"
Right.
And Skam would like post everyone's birthday, right? Did he ever post your birthday when you were on Skam?
T-Mouth.
Nah.
Yeah, see,
I would get phone calls from some.
Nah,
of my
he would
homies
post
on
me.
Skam.
he would post your birthday.
Yeah.
Damn.
So he never posted my birthday.
That's
Oh,
not true.
that was the last straw.
He's done that.
He done it like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But D,
Yeah.
he didn't post your birthday either, right?
I can't say that he did.
I think that's the real reason why we left.
You don't.
Yeah.
That's not even fair because
That was a big deal,
You
actually.
don't even post your birthday.
How could
Crooked.
you wait? But how could you not celebrate?
He doesn't know.
My birthday.
His birthday.
Me.
The ultimate.
And then I had to watch him every year on August whatever.
The second
You
to
don't
third
even
week.
know his birthday.
Yeah,
Crooked.
Throw himself the biggest birthday party
Yeah.
Biggest
of
bash
the century, and he couldn't even acknowledge my birthday.
on October.
Are you serious?
You don't even
Nudia?
like your birthday.
That's
you
a
literally
fuck-
said you don't like
listen.
your birthday.
Nudia, you're not understanding here.
Do I have to mute your mic?
Listen.
Yes. You know what? Being.
Everyone came here to hear what I have to say.
Can I speak my truth?
Yeah, Nudia.
Go ahead.
Stand down.
I mean, so that's the real reason why I left, though. No birthday acknowledgement. D, that's why you left, right? No birthday acknowledgement.
Somebody got to acknowledge my shit. I'm not a big celebrator, but damn, a little. Post.
Yeah, a little post, a
post
little
will go a long
tag.
way.
You know what I'm saying?
It goes
I
a long
like,
way.
I like to see the comments and see everyone
Cheering you on your big day.
saying happy birthday. Or you know what I love is the HBD. And they're like,
Oh, the HBD
don't
with the
even
little
spell,
cake.
Don't even spell happy or B day out. HBD. How like what? Or the birthday cake is the least of effort.
least effort.
3 of them though. If you get one, that's
get-
really.
oof.
I feel like if you get one birthday cake emoji, That's basically like a fuck
Nah.
you.
Yeah. It's like petty. Here you go.
It takes a lot
This
of
what
work
you
to
want.
look for the birthday cake.
You just spilled birthday cake.
You just have
And
to.
it pops up.
Yeah. Might as well put happy birthday at that point.
A lot of people would call this deflection, but it's not deflection.
No, it's not.
It sounds.
It sounds like deflection.
It does
okay.
sound like deflection.
All right, so let's get to it.
Yeah.
Why did we left? Why did we leave Skam?
Nice.
Right? D, why did we leave Skam? Never, why did you leave Skam?
Yeah. But it's even funny. People was coming up to me. It was like, yo, so you going to leave Skam soon? I'm like, I left during the summer. You're a little bit late on that one.
Been gone.
Before we continue, I think we should explain that we're all with Skam Artists.
Yes.
Agency with Suja Kundu, right? We've had Suja on the podcast many times. Skam Artists would be maybe, seen as one of the top tier DJ agencies in nightlife.
Yeah, coming up as a DJ, that was the Rockefeller.
Right. I mean, and from your perspective, when you were, in LA,
A young lad.
yeah.
looking at Skam Artists and Skam
All the big
DJs.
DJs.
Yeah, I mean, you look up to Skam Artists like the Rockefeller of the DJ, culture. You had Dexstar, which at that point after AM passed, it kind of dissolved a little bit. But from like 2008 to like 2013, 2014,
Yeah.
as as a 22, 23-year-old, you had to be represented by either Skam or somebody known in order to even break in somehow
Especially
into the circuit.
to piggyback on what Jamie said, especially when you understand the Vegas market, the top guys that were in these big rooms, outside of maybe the Calvin Harrises and the Aokis and the Tiestos, the guys in these rooms were represented by Suja.
Yeah,
on Skam
and like
Artist.
looking at the calendar, looking at the roster for Skam, it was kind of like a dream and a goal as a young DJ to get to that point.
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely the mecca of agencies for DJs.
Well, if you look back on the history of DJ agencies, right?
Yeah.
It's fairly it's not a long time.
It's 14 years old, maybe.
It's
Yeah.
maybe 15 years.
14 and 15.
15 years old that,
Right.
DJs had management. And I could go back to the 90s, or 80s or whatever when DJs existed. I'm sure like each of them had managers or road managers or someone taking care of their
Of
shit.
course.
I didn't come up that way. I didn't come up looking up to agencies. The reason why I signed with any agency or I signed with Skam, and we can actually go, down the line on why each person signed with Skam Artists.
Right.
The reason why I signed with Skam Artists initially was for protection.
Right.
How many years ago?
Wait, and wait, in what sense protection?
So when I was in Vegas, I think some of you guys heard this. I came out here. Never co-signed me. I came out to Vegas. I had a residency at Jet Light. I think they were in the middle of opening Bank,
Yeah.
and there was just issues with me. There was like an incident that happened. I think we've talked about it many times.
Yeah.
But anyway, in long story short, I signed a non-compete contract with them. So there was an incident that happened between like me and like Andrew Sesson, right? And they suspended me for like a week or like a month actually. And then we had a meeting and we were negotiating something. And I think at the time I was asking, I was pissed and I was hurt, that they suspended me for a month. And I felt like it wasn't my fault. And they just basically told me like, you know what, like your side doesn't matter. So if you want to continue working with us, you just come back on and, we'll continue what we're doing
Yeah, you just have to shut up and
and
take it.
get back to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And me being younger, right, and just being kind of probably a hothead, I was just like, nah, I'm not going to come back. And they're like, well, you signed a non-compete, so you can't work in Vegas for a year.
That's so rare, like a non-compete contract.
No, it
for a
was
DJ?
actually the
That was
standard.
the norm. Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
At the time.
That's
So-
like a radio thing.
That was a standard at the time. And actually, I think, so when I had the non-compete, I started a campaign and I made t-shirts called Free Crooked. So then like all these motherfuckers were wearing Free
What
Crooked.
year was that?
This was like
2007.
2007, yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone was wearing these Free Crooked tees. You know what I'm saying? But it was actually then that everyone started becoming aware of non-competes
Yeah.
and contracts because contracts were just so new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
So-
almost an unwritten thing because
Yeah.
you had like guys like Five and Crooked and Vice that were exclusive to one thing. Like I'll jump the gun a little bit. At one point, you guys are all exclusive to like Tao Group, and then you
Yeah.
had
That's very important that he's bringing that up.
Yeah.
That's correct. Is that Now you see DJs hopping around at different venues.
Yeah.
That was never a thing.
Yeah.
You could not do that in the mid 2000s or early 2000s. If you were signed with a venue or a management group, you were only exclusive to them and to their venues.
Yes.
You could not hop around.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that I didn't get being from New York. You know, there's a thing in New York where it's like, you remember we always said this, like you never stick to one club and stay
Nah.
exclusive to one club.
Nah.
Because then if that club dies, you die.
You fucked up, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you always kind of want to be hopping around to the new club.
Yeah.
So I hated the fact that I was in Vegas and I was exclusive to this one thing. And I feel like when you're signed to them, they kind of can manipulate you. They could do whatever they want to you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
You feel like you didn't have any power.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when I went through that 1 year of not working in Vegas and I had to start over, right? And I told the story many times. I had to start over literally from the beginning. And there's people that looked out for me. Z Zandy. I love her to the end of, I don't know, till
Turn the time.
the end of time.
I got you.
Till
baby.
death.
She looked out for
till
me.
death do you part.
You know, she put me in Wet Republic. You know, these people looked out for me. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
after that
and-
1
and-
year.
And Lima's episode, you spoke about doing
Right.
the lounges and stuff to
Yeah.
work yourself up at all.
So I had to work my way back up. And in doing so, at that time, I was actually working with this guy named Zach Gibman. And Zach Gibman was this dude from San Diego. He was doing bookings with his homie Mike Drummond.
Yeah.
And they were actually booking like live hip hop acts at different venues. So like Slick
Like
Rick.
old school hip hop.
Yeah,
artists.
they would do like Slick Rick or Redman at certain venues and blah, blah, blah. But he was just like, yo, man, like if you want some extra gigs out of town, you know, I could help you with that. And I'm not gonna. And you know, we want 15% of the bookings, but we're not gonna fuck with your Las Vegas shit. But after my experience in Las Vegas, I was like, I'm not going back to Las Vegas without some type of representation. I'm not well versed in like contracts and legal shit. I need someone to be a buffer and to tell me crooked, like, yo,
This is a shitty deal. Or
this
like
is a
something-
shitty deal, or crooked, you're overreacting. You know, like, you know what? Just shut up and just let this pass. It'll just go over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted. So, you know, long story short, Zach Gibman, Mike Drummond, and me, and Fashion was actually working with them at the time. We were kind of killing it. And I was kind of getting back up. I was working my way back in Vegas. I was in main rooms at Tao.
Yeah.
I was like really coming back up. And I was traveling a lot. And I was like, yo, like shit is good. And us coming up with Zach Gibman and Mike Drummond, they actually started a agency. And it was called Undisputed.
Okay.
You know? It was called Undisputed. And it had the Mike B was on it. Sid Vicious, Neva,
You
were
put
on
me
it.
on there eventually. You got
There is Scooter, great
Yeah.
DJs, Chris Cuts, Fresh One. It was like I think there was all these homies that were on it, and we were like, "Yo," a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's so." There's like there's Dexstar, there's Skam, and now there's Undisputed. But we were just putting in so much work that we were getting in like we were doing takeovers at Blush, like we were like slowly building shit up to where we would have had our own agency, and then. There was, we probably got to bleep his name out, but there was a dude there named. He was just doing like weird, shady shit. So every time I would like open a new venue up, he would like contact them and be like trying to take my bookings, but he was on my team.
Yeah, that's weird.
So he was on my same agency, but he felt whenever I opened a new venue up that he had access to that.
Yeah, like it was fair game.
So it was like, and then it was just kind of like, why are you guys bothering the venue? Like, why are you trying to like push this dude on them? You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of told him like, I don't want to be on this agency if I feel like.
You're going to have to carry a bunch of people.
No, that wasn't it. That's not the point. I don't trust people. If I don't trust the motherfuckers who are on my agency, right? If they feel like they're entitled to everything that I get, that it's theirs. I was like, I don't want to be on there. So it's either me or him. And at the time, they chose him.
But this dude is known to be a little shady, though.
He is.
Yeah.
But I think that's a common misconception. Like I know, like growing up, like I used to think, oh, if you join an agency, then you play at all those venues that you
Right.
see these people on their list playing on, you know?
Yeah, but there's a way to do it. Not you contact this person and
Oh no, for sure. But I think
Yeah.
that's a misconception. Oh, I want to play at this venue, and that agency is there. So if I sign with them, like I'm gonna get dates. You know?
It's a problem when the venue calls you up and they're like, "Why is your agency pushing this other dude?" Mm-hmm. I just came to call you for bookings, and they keep pushing this other dude, and it was multiple venues hitting me. Like, why? So that's when I have a conversation with them. That's the problem. So then, when they picked, Ross One had been on Skam Artist, and I was just like, look, I thought those were a crew of homies that I could trust. And that's really all I cared about, is that I wanted to be with like a crew that I trusted. There's strength in numbers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I look at Skam and I'm like, Ross One's on there, Roctacon's on there,
Homies.
5, you know what I'm saying? Like all the homies are on Skam.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I feel safe over there. So let me go over there. So I said, Ross, like, speak to Sujit. Let me see if I can join Skam. Because I wasn't about to navigate Las Vegas by myself. I felt at the time I needed representation and protection. And that was my interest in joining Skam Artist. And it had nothing to do with Sujit. Like, I wasn't like, Sujit's, Sujit's great at what he does. But I wasn't like, I want to be a Skam Artist. It wasn't like that. It was like, this is a crew of homies that I trust and I love. They got my back and I got theirs. And, and Sujit, is like protecting us. So I'm going to go there. And I went over there. You know what I'm saying? And that was my reason for kind of joining Skam Artist. But it wasn't to be a Skam Artist. It wasn't to be like Sujit, get me more gigs. It was never, there was no incentive except for crew love and protection.
Yeah.
That is something that motherfuckers need to understand. I was getting gigs and I was getting opportunities when I walked through the door at Skam Artist. You feel me? Like, and if my name grew and if I got more gigs or if I made more money, cool. Do you understand? Like, that's great. But at no point was it like, damn, Crooked wasn't working, and then when he joined Skam Artist, he blew the fuck up. It was never that. Do you understand? I went there for protection and to be with my homies.
Yeah.
And so when I joined, like, I was like, yo, I trust this agency. I was trying to get all the homies in. And that's when Never came through in the picture. That's when I co-signed like a couple other DJs.
DJ
like,
June.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
DJ June, D-Miles. And then Never, what year did you join Skam?
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
So,
And the reason I joined Skam was around that time, every DJ was down with the crew. Like you had, like you said, there was Skam, there was Blackout Artists,
Yeah.
shout out to Kalika.
all the other crews you said. So I felt like at that time, the club managers and promoters and owners, they was looking at a DJ who was with a certain crew.
Yeah, it was like they didn't even want to speak to a DJ directly.
Exactly.
It was weird, right?
It
More of a
was.
stamp of approval.
But the thing was, I was working though, because there was a time like I wasn't working, like maybe 2013, 14, it was slow. And then things started picking up. Like I started doing Dre's, I started doing Light.
You was doing 1-0.
One Oak, yeah. And I was just, all this I was doing on my own. At the time, we also had New.
Yeah.
And I was doing New and getting these gigs. And there was a lot of work, like keeping up with these invoices, being at the shop all day, then at night, getting the gigs. So I kind of needed help with my payments and shit, make sure I'm getting paid. So that's when you approached me. He was like, yeah, Sujit want to bring you on Skam.
Yeah.
And at first I was hesitant because I come up from the time when DJs didn't pay managers a certain fee for work. We got the gigs on our own. But I thought about it and I was like, 15%, I could live with that. And plus, like you said, all the homies was on Skam. It was you, Voss, 5, Deluxe, Scratchy. It was like everybody, like all our friends was on Skam. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to join the Skam. So boom. So I got on there.
Yeah.
And it did help a little bit. I ain't gonna front. Because I started to get gigs like at other venues that I never thought I would be working at.
Right.
Because at the time, like you said, Skam was like one of the biggest agencies out there. And when you was on Skam, you was fucking
Yeah, you were Rockefeller.
I mean, there was a certain prestige, right?
Yeah,
there was a
it was.
prestige
A
that
badge
came
of
to
honor
join
kind
it,
of.
right?
Yeah.
There's that's an undeniable. Like,
it was a stamp.
There was a marketing factor to it. It was like when Sujit's, birthday dinners or parties would come up, and you were in there. People would ask you like, "Yo, can I go through?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Or when there was like their big Christmas parties, "Yo, can you get me in?"
I was always D-Miles plus one.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna keep it a bean.
Aw.
And then Skam was doing those videos like the
Those cool videos.
the fucking
Yeah.
Ocean 11 type of shit.
That was crazy.
The takeovers.
Yeah. So
Yo, I remember that was 2010 when they did that video, and I was just blown away. I think I sent it to Jamie. I was like, bro, like this shit is epic.
Yeah, me and used to
Because it was like it was the Rock the Con scene, the Jermaine Dupri scene, you at New, I think Vice, Deluxe 5 in the clubs doing shit. Like it was crazy,
different.
man. It was just like
smoking a cigarette. Eating,
I must have sent that video to mad homies. Like, bro, like this is like the pinnacle to be a DJ. But
Yeah,
shit.
it
Captains
was-
of Industry was in that. Like
yeah.
Chris Garcia hopping off the Porsche. I was just like, Jesus,
Yeah.
bro, these motherfuckers making money, bro.
Yeah, they were like, yo, y'all like fucking Wolf of
Making
Wall Street
money.
type of shit. We
Like,
were like,
I was so envious. I was just like, yo, this is beautiful. Like it was so inspiring.
Dude, I was getting paid $25 to DJ at that point. So I was like, hey, whoa.
So wait,
that's
what was your perspective? Like what made you want to sign? And you know what I'm saying?
It's interesting because my career in Vegas really started around 06. I got my first job at Tao, I want to say 07 or 08, but I was just doing the lounge. That's when me and Lima became tight. We were doing the lounge. I started getting better, honing my skills. Omar started giving me more opportunities.
You're talking about Tao, right?
Tao Group,
Yeah.
yeah. So at the time, it was just Tao Beach. That next fall, Lava opened. So I'm doing all three. So I'm rotating between there. I'm doing the opening shifts, doing the lounge and opium room at Tao, doing Tao Beach. And then I felt almost stuck. Okay, I'm like, damn, I'm doing well, but I'm only doing this. I'm only doing the lounges. I'm only like, how can I progress? So then I met my first manager.
So basically, you were like, I'm an opener and a side room DJ.
Yes.
But I've been an opener and a side room DJ for this long.
About a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, how can I grow? And then I start around that time to understand the idea of having representation, right? I see like all the dudes I look up to, they're represented by someone in some form, whether they have an independent manager or they have an agency. So I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe it's a good idea for me to look and see if that's something that I can do for myself. Maybe get a manager, right? So then I get my first one, which is Vivian's son, our friend.
Yeah.
And she helped me tremendously. She helped me in a sense that I probably she got me my
And
first.
she's not like a manager or
She's not.
No.
She just had contacts. She was doing radio at the time, and she was started working with Insomnia, the company that does all the festivals, right? Like
EDC.
EDC, all that shit, right? So first ever out of town gig I got was in DC, thanks to her. So I'm starting to build and get out of town gigs, but the money's not crazy. So she comes to a point where she's like, yo, I can't do this anymore. I love you, but I got to focus on this other thing full time. So at that point, I'm like, cool. Now I know what a taste of it feels like. So moving forward, not only do I want to get out of town, but I need to get my money up. So then I crossed paths with Zach, right?
Zach Gibman.
Zach Gibman. Crooked was DJing at Lava one night. He was like, yo, this is my guy, Zach. He represents me. So me and Zach started rapping. We built a relationship. He starts getting me out of town gigs and getting my money up. So I'm like, okay, that's dope.
Can I ask, was Undisputed still going on when you met?
I think it was on its way down, but Zach still had the contacts.
Okay.
Right? So it was, I think he was kind of like doing it on his own. Mike Drummond wasn't as involved. I think Mike Drummond was involved.
I think at this point I may have left.
I think
did.
so too, yeah.
I was at Skam Artist.
Yeah.
But for me coming up, you were like, it may not be a bad look to just work with him and see what it is.
The thing with Zach Gibman is he's kind of an amazing salesman.
Yeah, can you give him his flowers?
Yeah,
No. Like,
Can you give him how great you told me this guy was?
no. Like, I will admit, like, Zach Gibman got me into rooms and doors out of town that I would have never gotten in.
Yeah,
And he's kind of he's an amazing salesman.
he is. I give him
And
that.
he's persistent as fuck, and he will ride or die for you to the very end. Which really kind of hurt me when they didn't take my side initially when I was threatening to leave, and I ended up at Skam.
Yeah,
That actually I questioned it, but I never held it against him.
right.
And he kind of told me later, like, we fucked up.
Yeah,
You know, like we should have looked out for you.
yeah,
But yeah, Zach Gibman, you know, when the year that I was I had to non-compete in Las Vegas. I had to go out of town twice a week.
I was gonna ask you how you like survived during that.
So this is how I survived. Is like I had to go out of town once to twice a week in different cities, and that grind for that year. And I mean going to like Kansas City, then Oklahoma, and then like Philly, and then Boston, and then like Miami.
You was in Canada heavy.
I was in Canada. I was just flying every day, every weekend for at least 2 to 3 times a week. I was out of town in a different city week after week after week. And that was a testament to Zach Gibman, who said like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to look out for you because you can't work in Vegas. I got your back. You're going to work every fucking week for the next year. And I was like, I don't know, man. And he fucking did it.
You said he would cold call clubs.
He would cold call clubs
and just sell you, right?
He would just sell, and he was just relentless. He would just like check on them every week, and that's really what it's about. It's like, it's really
watering.
It's like for these agents and these salesmen, right? It's like they are annoying the first 2 months or the first couple weeks. They're super annoying, but then they just kind of grow on motherfuckers. And it's kind of like you have to be okay with rejection.
Yeah.
But then you have to just kind of keep hitting them back up. Like, yo, what about this? What about this?
Yeah.
Yo, fuck off. What about this? Yo, man.
And that's honestly.
And then people look at him like, yo, you never quit.
Yeah.
And they end up respecting it.
Yeah. And that's a lot of things like we won't. Yeah. We don't do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
because to us it's exhausting.
Do we have time to be on the phone every day?
Because for me, like literally, he was getting me $2,000, 2,500 gigs when no one knew who the fuck I was. And I'll be like, yo, Zach, how are you getting me in these rooms? Like, these people don't know me. He's like, bro, like, I would tell them, let D in. If he's whack, you never have to book him again. But if he's not whack, let's build a relationship and have him come back. And every time I'll go in, I would kill it. And we started building. And I always respected that about him. I think where that was the pro. The con was, right? Like
I think operationally, right?
So it goes back to that.
Operationally,
it wasn't there. But the hustle was there. It just wasn't critiqued to where like I was getting paid on time or certain things. And not all of that was on him. But what it did do was help me understand what I needed moving forward. In any business, like you need a salesman and you need someone who handles the operations behind. And Zach was an amazing salesman.
And he was an amazing salesman, but he was just missing that operations person.
Yeah.
And that's basic, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So after that point, we decided to go our separate ways, and then I spent about 2 to 3 years with no management, and I just started really grinding in the city, kind of just building relationships, taking the opportunities I was given, and building on those. Right. I got to the point where I had multiple residencies, and then it clicked one day. I remember I was like double or triple booked one day. And I was like, nah, I can't do this. Like, I have to have management. Like, there's no way I should be triple booked and not keeping up with my shit properly. Around that time, I might have hit up Crooked and been like, yo, like, how do you feel about maybe getting me like a meeting with Sujin? Is there any room over there? I don't know what the situation is. And he was like, honestly, I don't know if there's an opportunity there, but there might be an opportunity with these other guys.
I'll be honest with you. I've known Fresh One in San Diego for a long time, since I've been going to San Diego to DJ at Stingery.
Yes. Used to love that spot.
Fucking the best.
Stingery was so dope.
And I actually saw Fresh One build Sleeping Giant, his agency, from the ground up. So when he was building that, I was building new. So we would talk back and forth. When it came to like developing your own website, he was always ahead of me. I'm like, yo, your website's so clean. He's like, here's my developer. When I had issues with payroll or operations, or even like certain things like Basecamp, he would introduce me like, yo, we're using this app called Basecamp, or this is what I'm doing for payroll.
Right.
So operationally, he was always ahead of me. And I was watching him really streamline his business from the ground up.
Yeah.
Which is what everyone's like, why did you sign with Sleeping Giant? This is why I signed with Sleeping Giant. Yeah. Because I've seen him build it from the ground up. He's built that agency up. He has a staff of 8. Right? Yeah. There's different departments. Everyone's mastering their own department. They're handling their own department. His payroll, his staff has healthcare. These are things that I'm like, yo, this dude is changing. To me, in my eyes, he's changing the standards of what DJ agencies are.
Yeah.
And the operations behind it are solid as fuck.
Yeah.
But at the time, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't happy initially signing with Skam Artist. For me, it was hard, but it took like, it took me like 3 years to condition myself to actually know how to deal with him. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah.
Like I had like to actually deal with him, I had to like get to know him and like know how his temperament is and how to approach him and how he reacts to shit. Cause initially it's jarring to certain people. Like for some motherfuckers, it can be jarring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie to you. Like there's been times when I wanted to like hop a flight and go to LA and just like throw like a chair at him. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, yeah.
You feel me? Like, and I've never felt that way about a lot of shit. But like, like it took me 3 years to get into a comfortable place where I could actually speak to him.
Yeah.
But even still, it required me to compromise a lot of who I was.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
So, when you look, when we talk about, Skam Artists and me being there for 10 years, so it's like 10 years of compromising myself. So when D approached me about joining Skam, I kind of was like, I don't know if this is the place for you.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you should try out Sleeping Giant because I've seen what he's built from the ground up.
Yeah.
And I would actually, at the time, I was like, I wouldn't mind joining it.
Right.
But right now, Sujit and Skam Artists have such a stronghold in Las Vegas that I don't know what would happen if I left.
Right.
If I would get blackballed, I don't know what the penalties were or what the consequences would have been.
Yeah.
So I stayed on Skam thinking like everything's running, the machine's flowing, and I myself might not be the happiest, right? But the business is moving. So like I'm going to compromise myself to keep the business moving. And bear in mind, I had New at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Full time.
And thriving at that point.
I was doing New 15 hours a day. So in my head, I'm like, all right, this monster New is going crazy. Do I leave an agency and like risk like more work and like more shit on the plate for me to take care of?
Yeah.
Or do I just keep this going? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like if I leave an agency, it's a lot. It's like there's the transition, moving the contacts. Like, am I going to get blackballed? Do I have to go out more? Do I have to meet these people and make these connections? Is it going to
be more work than it's worth?
Exactly.
At that point for you, it's going to give you more of a headache.
And not only that, like New was, it was making a lot of money, but it was costing a lot of money. There was a point where like, we were making like over $100,000 a month. And I still needed to borrow money from Sujit. I needed $5,000 to pay taxes off. But it's like I had all this money just moving, but I just didn't have enough.
It wasn't staying there. It was going in, and
coming right back.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
And it was like, I was putting my own money in. So it's like I put 20 grand in, and it's like all of a sudden I'm behind, and I'm like, yo, Suj, I need $5K for taxes. And that's the great thing about Suji is that he will look out and he'll
absolutely
without even like questioning, he'll fucking look out.
He'll be like, yeah, all right, whatever you need, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So he got my back. I paid that shit off, but it was so chaotic. I was like, I can't afford more chaos and leave Skam Artists. But at the same time, I was kind of looking out for you.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And I was just like, I don't know if you want to join this machine. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, why don't you try out these dudes, that Sleeping Giant, Fresh One, because I trust those motherfuckers. Like, and he's a DJ, and you don't really see a lot of agencies that are ran by DJs.
Yeah. And it kind of worked out because when I took the meeting, we hit it off. You know what I mean? Like I had a meeting with him, Troy and Fred over the phone. Went down to San Diego, met with them. They were super cool. And at the time, I was like really like bubbling, like in the city doing things too. So like everything I had, I felt so comfortable with them. I was just like, yo, like, this is what I have on the table. I'm comfortable with y'all taking this over and just running shit and just letting me come and show up and work. And for that first 2 years, like, it was amazing. Like, more work than I'd ever had in my life, more money than I ever had in my life. I was traveling. I was happy. And then I went through this phase where I felt like I'm killing it over here, but my homies is killing it over there. And so I went through this feeling like I want to be killing it with my homies. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like it was like being on a sports team and you want to play with your boys.
You had a good bitch at home and it wasn't enough.
Yeah, like
it was like I'm playing for the like Boston Celtics, but I'm from LA. I want to play for the Lakers.
You had a
know what I'm saying?
You had a down ass bitch and it wasn't good enough.
And it was like I was just like, fuck, man. Like I really want to just be killing it with the homies. I'm watching Crooked and Neva, and I'm close with Scratchy, and like y'all doing y'all thing over there, and the immature part of me and my selfish half was like, I kind of want to go over there and be with the homies and make money with the homies and travel with the homies and be a part of what they have going on.
I want to be at the Skam dinners.
You was making paper, but you wanted the glory.
Yeah.
I
I wanted to go to the Christmas party.
Yeah, I wanted to do all the fun things and just be around my homies. And I think that was a testament to my immaturity and a testament to...
You know what? It's not, because you kind of got to go through it.
Yeah.
You have to learn those lessons.
You got to go through it,
But like the me that I am now versus the 2015, 16 me, I see things totally different, right? And my values have changed. What is important to me has changed. Mm-hmm. Being in certain rooms doesn't matter as much to me. Like, you guys are family regardless, right? Whether we working together or not, we family.
Mm-hmm. Really?
But in that,
Come on.
in that moment, it was tough, man, because it was weighing on me for a while. And I remember leaving to go to Skam. That was a tough. It was. I had really bad anxiety over it.
Like, was there any issues that made you leave, or did you?
I think that the one issue at the time was that I didn't feel like I all the way fit in. Even though I was making money, at the time their roster was very EDM heavy. Mm-hmm. And I think that I wanted to be around a situation where they were doing things and gearing things towards my strengths. And I felt like the open format market was cornered by Skam Artists.
Right.
So the rooms that they were putting their DJs in were the rooms that I'm like, I need to be in those rooms.
So your thinking was like, yo, if I'm killing it on Sleeping Giant, I would be murdering it on Skam Artist.
That's where my head was.
Yeah.
And first of all, all due respect to Fresh and Troy, because that was a hard conversation, because it was like, how do I articulate that I want to leave when things are going well?
Right.
Because nothing's really going bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like, how do I justify wanting to leave without sounding selfish, right? So we just had a real conversation.
You had a good bitch at home.
Yeah, you had a good bitch at home.
We had a really good conversation, and a testament to who they are, man. They understood.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's okay. Like,
I'm sure they were tight. I'm sure they were tight.
No.
I was like, fuck. They was like, fuck.
What's funny is that me and Fred. So me and Fred and me and Troy had two different relationships. Me and Fred had a talk and it was cool. Me and Troy kind of like bumped heads, but then when we saw each other in person months later, we squashed it and we had a real conversation.
That's the Black and Troy. He was like, fuck this nigga.
Well, but I'm thankful that Troy gave me the opportunity to talk it out later.
Yeah.
And gave me the opportunity, right? I think the one thing when I did join Skam, the one thing that kept my spirits high and everything afloat for so long was that I had John Marino.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
I never really had to deal with Sujit ever.
So John Marino was an agent, one of the agents on Skam Artist
At the time.
It's amazing. For me, he was amazing. I think we all at some point dealt with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you left Sleeping Giant, and you hit me like, yo, can I join Skam? And I think it was easy at that point. We were like, yes.
Was.
And Suji was like, yeah, done deal.
Yeah.
Like D's working, it's all good. And I think this is when John Moreno just started.
Yeah.
And this is probably when you just joined as well. Because did you deal with John Moreno?
At first I dealt with Christine Doyle.
Okay.
She was my first manager, agent.
Yeah, agent.
Yeah, my first agent I worked with in Skam. Then she left like probably a year and a half later, and that's when John became my agent.
Right.
Yeah.
So when John first joined Skam, I tell you how different he was. Like, we had a conversation on the phone. We had like 2 to 3 conversations on the phone. And I was like, yo, you know what? Like, this motherfucker actually cares.
He really does.
And I was like, yo, why don't I fly you out to Vegas? I got your hotel. Let's have dinner. Let's meet up. And why don't you come? Like, I'm working at, I don't know what spot I was. I was maybe at, Hakkasan, or I don't know what the fuck I was DJing. I said, why don't you come through, come check it out, try to meet with maybe some of the contacts over there and blah, blah, blah. I've never done that with another agent at Skam. Never.
John was so thorough. My first month on Skam, he flew to Vegas to my first official gig on Skam just to support me and just to talk to management while I was there to check on me, how I was doing. And I had never had that happen.
God damn it. Shouts to
And like
John.
literally, he was like, I could call John at 8 in the morning. I could call him at 2 in the morning. I could call him for anything. He would answer his phone for anything. He was there for me for anything. And that buffer was so important because I felt like I had someone that completely understood me.
Yeah.
And it made the transition, it was like it justified my move.
Right.
Like having him there just made me feel so comfortable, and I was so thankful. And I never not let him know how thankful I was. I always told him like, bro, I appreciate you, man, because you really make my life a hell of a lot more easier than it probably should be right now.
You don't meet a lot of motherfuckers like that who care like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even from jump, I was just like, yo, this dude is different. You know, like just to explain even more, like Neva and I DJ'd his wedding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for free. Like I didn't want shit. We were like, yo, whatever the fuck you
that.
want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
that's how much of like this motherfucker is as solid as fuck. Like
nice
I
guy.
can't say enough about like John Moreno.
Yeah.
And he was a big reason why I stayed on Skam Artist. So even if like Suji and I were bumping heads, he would get in the middle of it. And you were right. I didn't really have to deal with Suji at that time.
Right.
But like he cared so much, he would hit me up and ask me for advice about operations. How can I improve communication with this at Skam office, or how can we do this? How can we do that? And I'm like, well, you could probably try this, or you could try this. I mean, like motherfuckers don't do that.
He would call me every week. He'd be like, yo, Nev, let's try to work on some new spots. I'm going to try to hit up this spot. I'm going to try to hit up that spot. If you have any suggestions, let me know. And he would do this like every week.
Yeah.
And I love I have no problems with the agents I have, but no agent have done that for me ever.
Nah. And he was gold, man.
Yeah.
He was like, you don't meet motherfuckers like that. Like to this day, I talk with him maybe at least once a week.
Yeah,
we
he's
DM
super
each other.
friendly,
You know what I'm saying? He listens to the podcast once in a while.
Shouts to John.
Yeah.
You know, and he works at the farm now. He's doing big
He's
things.
doing
you know?
big things, man.
He is a part of what is it, MSG Group?
Yeah.
That owns the forum.
Yep.
So literally, he's in there doing operations. He works from that space, and he's still there for us, man. Like even though he's not working with Skam, he's whatever the situations are, he's still there for us. Like I hit him up to get my sister tickets to J. Cole.
Yeah.
And not only did he do that, he got her VIP parking passes and passes to the after party. And I'm like,
Everything's
John,
the best.
you didn't have to do that. He was like, bro, you family. Don't say nothing. Like it's all love.
He did the same for me, man. Like,
Yeah.
J. Cole concert. He
Look,
just-
I don't even know the dude, and he offered me tickets too.
Yeah.
So he's the nicest guy. He's always been a stand-up guy.
Yeah. So but when he left, what was he leave? Like in 2018,
2019.
19.
Yeah.
So when
it
he
was
left,
February 2019.
wow, you remember?
I did.
Broken. Yeah.
He was hurt. He's like, God damn it.
I remember he was just like, it was like March is about to come. He was just like, damn, I got some bad news. I'm going to leave Skam. And it totally like destroyed me. I was just like, fuck, man. It's like, we built a relationship together, man. It was all good. It was all
hurt.
No, it's true though, man. I feel like everything changed after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not a diss to the agents we were dealing with after John, but everything changed. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And and when that hit, it just kind of like, it changed everything.
It did.
And it's one of those things when 2021 comes back, everything's opening up.
Yeah.
And, we had
Shit was so different, man.
We had Sujit on, Skam Artist, right? We had Sujit on when he was, post-pandemic kind of last year.
Mid-pandemic, actually.
Right. When he was like, kind of marketing the Skam Summit, right?
Yeah.
And we had him on and he spoke about, kind of like he's a one-man show right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the issues that I had, because when you have so many DJs and you're monitoring all of these DJs, you're doing the bookings, itineraries,
Yeah.
you're being some DJ's therapist, right? So you're like helping all of these random motherfuckers do shit. And let's be honest, man, DJs are not the easiest motherfuckers to deal with.
No.
Fucking prima donnas. They think they're the shit.
Needy.
needy.
Crybaby.
You know, like even when a motherfucker's busy, you know, that's still not enough.
Yeah.
Like even with you, like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? You had a good situation at Sleeping Giant. That wasn't enough. Like, it's
Yeah.
just never enough. So I understand Sujit's position, and I've always understood Sujit's perspective. And I actually always empathized and respected what he was as a business person. And I feel like we always connected on that because I ran new, and I felt like sometimes I was alone and I was running this company, you know, like it just like all this weight was on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I had to keep it moving. So when I would see Sujit sometimes, I saw that in him and I'd empathize for him, you know? He's a hard fucking worker. He's a hustler.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I can't, no one could ever take that shit away from that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But when everything opened in 2021, I just felt like it was like a new agency.
It was totally, yeah.
Oh, it was.
It was completely different, you know, like it was just a different animal. There's no agents. We're dealing with Sujit on every day, like on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and it's about 80 acts in that roster.
And it's just like, you know, at this point with my level of compromising myself to, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it was like, I didn't know what temperament I was going to deal with sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just, and I don't blame him because it's just so much to juggle. There's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
And to do that alone is hard. But it's one of those things where I got to look back. If I'm a company and I've been around for 10 plus years to maybe 15 years, shouldn't I have an infrastructure that is running better, if not the same, than it was 10 years ago?
Right.
And that's one of the issues that I was having.
Yeah.
That is like why I understand we're like rebuilding and shit, but these are operations. And why are we going backwards?
The one thing I did watch, because I met you in 2009, from when you started new to building it, I always respected the fact that you empowered others and you gave others responsibility in order to do what they needed to do. And I'm not sure that Sujit ever empowered anyone else to help him run the company, so that he almost created that weight on his shoulders more so.
I think it's hard though. Like,
And I don't know if that's dissing him.
it's
So
not.
if you,
No, it's
you know
not.
what I'm saying?
That's your.
But
that's,
it's overextending yourself.
well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. That's your perspective.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could say is that it's hard to empower people because, like, when you run a business and you trust people and you put everything on and you reward them and you look out for them, people are unpredictable.
Right.
People will take advantage of you. People will lie to you. People will steal from you. Some people have done that with me with new. You know what I'm saying? And friends have done that. And I can't take it personally. And I think we all protect ourselves in different ways. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that's just one of those things where when you're running a business, sometimes you're like, I can only trust myself. You know, and in his defense, like, you know, it's hard. It's like, especially like day to day, it's like when you run a business, there's some weeks where every fucking day, like someone is fucking you in some different way every fucking day.
Yeah.
And it just really affects how you navigate through life and if not business. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, in 2021, I mean, you even know, like everything changed.
Yeah, it did. It's like you said, everything started to open up again slowly. But I had venues was hitting me up directly asking me if I wanted to work. And I'm thinking, why are these guys hitting me up instead of hitting Sujit up?
Right.
So I was thinking about it, and then I decided, you know what, maybe it's time for me to move on.
Because there was no point in you having being part of an agency if everyone's hitting you up directly.
Exactly, yeah. And also during
and you hate giving your 15%, right?
Yeah. Fuck that.
I know Neva's thinking, he's like, if I'm talking to the contacts,
I would never do that.
I'm doing the 15% of the work.
and why am I giving this motherfucker 15%?
I would never do that to Sujit. But I was thinking, like, yeah, maybe it's time for me to move into a different direction.
Right.
And also at the same time, A.D. McDonald's, he was just like, yo, Nev, if you leave a Skam, I can help you out with gigs as well.
With Mac Agency.
With Mac Agency. So
Right.
on top of the gigs I had through my contacts,
Right.
I had gigs that 80 was hitting me with. So I felt like, yeah, this is going to work out. This is like
Right.
It's a good marriage.
the best thing to do
So
right
you guys,
now.
yeah. So you guys were just flowing, and then it just seemed only right to join Mac Agency.
Absolutely.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we've known Eddie since forever, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
20 plus
I've known
years.
Eddie since the 99 and shit.
The 99.
99. 98, 99.
Jamie and I were like 5.
That's family right there.
I know. So, and I've known him since 2005. So it's like, you know, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, DJs starting their own agencies.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that you're on an agency, right? Started by a DJ.
Exactly.
And D and I are on an agency started by a DJ.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So D, what was your reasons for leaving? Scam.
I think
the big question.
After I joined Skam, I didn't have any complaints. Like I said, we were working with John, so that he was the constant buffer. I think when he left, I was still doing well. A series of events started happening right when my long-term residencies closed. So I had like that income deleted from me, right? Like I wasn't doing hard anymore. That was like my 7-8 year residency. So at that point, I started hustling a little bit more because when John left, you know, much respect to the next agent that I had, but he wasn't as seasoned. I think he was still learning the business. So I had to almost step up in my contributions, right? Like when I had John, I got spoiled. I was not networking at all. I wasn't communicating with the bookers and
Right.
my relationships out of town at all because I felt so comfortable with John, and it was a great thing. But when he left, I realized I still need to play my part, right? I still need to hustle and do what I have to do. But, you know, obviously COVID happened and things weren't going my way. After COVID, I might have been getting 1 or 2 gigs a month, maybe. And then, you know, I got blessed and I started doing more corporate shit, right, with the boxing. So that became my main source of income.
Showtime. Shout to
Yeah.
Showtime.
Showtime
So-
and Thriller.
and Triller, right?
Triller. So that became my main source of income, being able to DJ those events. And I'm extremely thankful for that, right? But it did allow me like time to really reevaluate my DJ career because I didn't have to depend on it as much for financial reasons, right? Like I had like Triller and Showtime paying my bills. So I could like sit back and like, okay, where do I want to go direction wise with the DJing, like in the clubs, right? So I started rebranding and rebuilding my contacts. And then I'm like, okay, maybe Skam isn't the lane for me anymore. And at this point in my career, where do I want to be? What do I want to do? I started doing like working with the homies more, like my contacts in Texas and LA, like the homies that have parties. Like I'm doing all these different things now.
Right.
That became like my source of like joy. That's what became important to me. And then I think still having a relationship with SGM, talking to those guys, remending that relationship with Troy, I felt like, okay, maybe this is the time to make that move to go back because we never lost touch. We always kept in touch, remained cool. I left on good terms, and they respected my decision at the time. I even went as far as to reach out to Troy, and I was like, look, man, you know, it was never a situation where I wasn't happy, but it was something I needed to do for myself, good or bad. And he understood, and we hashed it out. And I was like, look, man, the way I left may not have been fitting, but I do apologize if I made you feel a way about me personally.
Baby, please. I'm sorry. Baby, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean?
Baby,
Come back.
So
I love you,
Baby,
we hashed it, man.
I did you
I
wrong.
miss you.
You know,
Mandy.
you were at home cooking.
I'm gonna stop my selfish ways.
Man, like it just felt right this time around to go
Right.
back to work with those guys. And that's just where I was at because I'm not the same person I was in 2016.
Right.
I'm a different person. So what I value now versus 2016 is a little different. And that's what kind of helped me understand that I want to move forward. I still love doing the big rooms. I still love doing, lounges. I still love doing private events. I love all of that. But how I want to go about it might be a little different. Like I'm not chasing any one thing.
Yeah, I think basically in a nutshell, you're saying that like Skam Artists post-pandemic, they're not going to help you get to where you want to get right now.
Take the next step.
So I kind of like got to a point where I understand that there's like Skam Artist has a formula that works for them,
Right.
and their DJs. In order for them to be successful, they follow that formula. At this point in 2022, I don't know if that formula is for me. Right.
I think you hit it right on the nail.
Yeah.
Is that a term?
Yes.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail right on the forehead.
On the forehead.
Yo, D, you're absolutely right about that formula. I'm glad you mentioned that. Because it's like, I feel like, if we talk about these agencies, I feel like they all specialize in different things.
Yes.
There's certain agencies that specialize in corporate events, sponsorships. Some of them, like we said, they deal with more like, good music parties, like do-over events or like festivals and so on, and I feel like Sujit and Skam Artist, their formula, it works really well. It's a really great formula, but I feel like you have to compromise to fit the formula.
Yeah.
It's not a formula that adapts to every DJ.
Right.
So you kind of have to adapt to it. And I think there's a certain point where it's like you can't compromise anymore. And I think the pandemic just put a lot of things into perspective.
It did.
It actually did, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really, it's just one of those things where, when you put in 10 years of something and you look back on the 10 years, I have absolutely no regrets.
Yeah.
And, I thank Sujit for the work that we did together. And, and just like, I had a crazy fucking 10 years, with a whole bunch of shit, even starting this podcast. You saw what was going on when
Oh, man.
imagine I was juggling the podcast. It was insane, the amount of work and,
Yeah.
and Sujit held me down during that time. But I just feel like at this point moving forward, I want to take more control over my career so that when I'm in my 50s, I can control the direction it's going. And it's not on a Skam Artist train.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
Like, I just want to take control. So DJ Crooked, like, all right, like, wow, we're seeing like a completely different lane that DJ Crooked's in. And it's not just on the Skam Artist train.
Yeah.
And look, like, shout to all the DJs on Skam Artist. I like genuinely love most of them. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
No, actually,
You have a lot of love for everybody.
I got a lot of love for the DJs there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're all killing it. They're all so talented. And like, seeing like DJs like Angie V, like come up and just take streaming to another level and getting to the venues. Like, Suchit's doing his job.
He is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to find something new, and I want to kind of get out of my comfort zone, and that's switching agencies and management. And I'm in a place right now, and I could kind of like take a little bit of time to say like, all right, what direction do I want to go to, and what do I want to build? And the thing is, like, it's not going to be instantaneous. Like, you're not going to see a new DJ Crooked in like 6 months. This is something I want to build in the next 3 to 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I had conversations with Fresh One, Freddie, and like Troy at Sleeping Giant, we had 2 to 3 hour conversations about what's in the future.
Yeah.
And one of the main concerns, and I put this in my Instagram post and my social media posts when I switched over to Sleeping Giant and I made that announcement. I just want to see how I can affect in this industry that we're in. When you've been in this industry for 20 plus years, everyone wants to make money, right? Everyone wants to like progress in their career and like blow the fuck up. But you start thinking about like, what have I accomplished?
Yeah.
How have I affected change or positive? Like,
Or what have you done differently?
not only that, it's like 20 years from now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how has the industry changed? Has it become better?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to see younger DJs kind of go through the same shit you went through. You kind of want it to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like when I look back and I'm looking and I'm like, yo, why is healthcare still a problem? Like these little things. Why can't agencies provide healthcare for DJs? Right?
Yeah.
Like at this point, we've all had homeboys or people that have had health scares.
I mean, fam,
Like-
we've had people like we've had
You know what I mean?
DJs pass away.
that
Yeah.
didn't have any kind of like coverage, that had to, their families had to depend
Do
on
a GoFundMe.
GoFundMes and
Yeah.
And
it's fucked up.
Yeah, and I'm having this conversation. I've had this conversation with DJ City. When we first started the podcast and we were talking about sponsorships with DJ City, I was talking to him about my concern for health insurance. When I spoke with Sleeping Giant, it was the same thing. We ended up talking about health insurance, and I was like, yo, is it possible to apply that shit to the DJs in your agency? And he said, yes. Like, I said, could that happen in the next 3 to 5 years? He said, maybe sooner. It's not only about like, yo, I want to get healthcare for DJs. It's just about like, yo, can I be part of an agency that's going to affect change and set a new standard?
Yeah.
Because if one agency has healthcare or sets a new standard that protects the DJs even more, everyone has to follow.
Yep.
And then if the new standard is every agency has healthcare, can there be a union? Can there be a possible union for DJs that has healthcare, legal advisory,
401k,
and 401k, all these like things where like you can basically have a pension plan. Like, is it possible? Like, maybe I'm just like fantasizing here, but it's like if you could do like a little bit of change and you can work with your homies to do it, that's the real thing that was. I'm not scared of the work. I've always been about the work. That's like motherfucker, if you want to work, let's work.
Yeah.
I'm not scared about the work. I just want to work with motherfuckers that align with my perspective and what is important to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm joining Sleeping Giant, I trust these motherfuckers, and it's always about crew love and protection.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm feeling right now with SGM. So when I say like, yo, let's try to do this, like, yo, Crooked, yo, why are you trying to be like the fucking savior? Like, dude, like, health. Nah, I'm just saying, like, yo, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, I'll say, y'all, like, yo, we couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
But like, motherfucker, let me just try. Like, these, and the thing is, when I talk with Fresh One about it, right? He's like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
He's not scared. He's kind of smiling, like, yo, let's do it. Like, fucking, I'm down. Like, I don't meet motherfuckers like that.
Yeah.
I don't meet motherfuckers that I talk to about shit like that, and they're like, yo, so it inspires me.
Not only that, it's really hard for you to find somebody that's 4 or 5 steps ahead of you.
Right.
And that just keeps you going even more.
And he's a brilliant dude, man. What he's done with that agency and operationally what he's done, it's just streamlined, bro.
Yeah.
It's ready for expansion. And that's the thing is like when I look at agencies, are they ready for expansion? How many workers are on there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they organized? What apps are they using? How's payroll? You know what I'm saying? How's the calendar and itineraries? It's all streamlined at Sleeping Giant.
Yeah.
They have a training process. They have like all of these things set up. It's ready to expand. Yeah. So when I talk to him and I'm like, yo, you're like, you got a decent sized roster for EDM. Could I maybe help in expanding your open format division?
Yeah.
He's like, yo, we would love that.
Yeah.
So not only like, so there's all of these things that come into play. Like, I don't necessarily get anything out of it either. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get shit.
But it is legacy.
It's
legacy.
I mean, it's one of those things you think back and be like, yo, when I'm 50 or 60 and I look back, if I affected change and I set a new standard for shit, then I could just be like, yo, like, who cares how many fucking Instagram or social media videos I posted with cryo or in front of big crowds?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
When I look back and I'm like, yo, I actually changed how the industry navigates.
Yeah.
You know, me and Jamie are huge sports fans. Everything that requires change starts with a union. It's just the way it is.
Yeah,
sports, you wouldn't have free agency. You wouldn't have money coming up. You wouldn't have like all these agreements, different things if you don't have a union first. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to protect the talent always. So starting healthcare, trying to form a union, all that stuff is for protection at the end of the day. You know, like Jamie came up to me today and was like, yo, like someone asked him like, yo, is Crooked signed to Sleeping Giant or is he working for Sleeping Giants? Because in his Instagram post, it sounded like he's working for them. And I'm like, yo, I'm working with them. Right. Mm-hmm. They're working for me and I'm going to help them. Exactly. Do you understand? And in helping them, I help others. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking out for my boys and I'm looking out for my boys because my boys are running this shit and my boys are signed to this shit. So I'm looking out for both parties. Yeah. Do you understand? And I don't get shit.
And not only that.
No, wait, let me finish. I don't get anything from this. If DJs get healthcare, they get healthcare. I get healthcare. You know what I'm saying? If we start a union, we start a union. I get nothing out of this financially. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when I'm doing this shit, it's some shit that just bothers me. And every time I see like a DJ get sick and I see a GoFundMe and I see like motherfuckers have to put in money for this shit, I get tired of that. And I've been seeing that shit for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
Since DJ Hero, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Risk One. Use the
yeah,
homie,
Risk
man.
One, fam. Like I'm just sick of seeing that shit. Shit is getting old, and I'm like, why isn't motherfuckers changing this shit? It's just old, bro. Like I don't want to see that shit no more, fam. If I'm talking with a motherfucker who wants to change the shit with me, like let's give it a shot. And even if nothing happens, right? Maybe someone else does it. They do it better.
Be inspired.
Then fuck it. Yeah. At the end of the day, there's going to be a compromise to every agency you join. You're gonna have to compromise something. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like any relationship, right? Whether it's a husband, wife, business partner, anything, you're gonna have to compromise something. Right. You just gotta realize, you gotta figure out what you're willing to compromise.
What you're willing to give up. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna compromise something. You know what I'm saying? So like for me and all of you guys, we made our decision on what we're compromising. And what we're not willing to compromise.
Yeah.
So I know, like Crooked, you were talking about complacency.
Yeah.
And I know when we're all out, like D said it, like Jamie said it, like people hit us up and message us, like, "Yo, what happened with Crooked? Yo, why'd Crooked leave?" Like I think everyone thought it was gonna be this big thing.
So you're kind of asking, like, everyone is curious to know why I left or D left or Neva left, because they're just wondering, there had to have been some kind of event or incident that happened
for you to make a change. Because if it's going good,
right,
and everyone's working,
why would I change a thing? Why would we change? The thing is, with this decision, it's been a change that I've been wanting for a while, and it just seemed like the right moment in time for me to do it. And it's not because Sujit's an asshole, or like because like I'm like fuck Skam, or it's not anything like that. It's just like, yo, like I had this fear of leaving, and then all of a sudden the fear dissipated somehow in the last 2 years. And maybe it's a confidence in myself. Maybe it's me knowing what direction I want to go to, or knowing that I need a change in direction. But it's also admitting to myself that I've been complacent. And it's like there's certain things I'm unhappy with my career and myself. And it's like, Sujit's not going to change that shit.
No one's going to fix it for you.
Sujit's not going to change that shit. And the thing is, like, the money, the gigs and all of this shit, I mean, that could only get you so far. But I've told you, like, in recent podcasts, like in episodes, I've told you I'm not motivated by money at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not motivated by that shit right now. So that, like, you know, I've changed in that aspect. In my 30s, that's like, yo, that's like, as a broke kid growing up in New York or LA or whatever the fuck, that's all you really want to do. Like, I was just having a conversation with MoMA about this, and we're like, yo, like, these millennials want to be Rihanna, you know, like, these people, they want to be superstars. Like, I don't want to be a superstar fucking DJ. I think, like, growing up, you know, my gen, I think it was like, the fact that we're able to do something besides a 9-to-5 to make money was already the biggest achievement ever. Like, and the fact that I'm like, you know, entering my 40s and still able to like make a living off of this shit is insane. Like, I think that's like the highest hope. Like, never, when we were growing up, it was like, you had to work for somebody, you had to go to college. Yeah. It was like, you never, when we told motherfuckers we want to be a DJ, everyone was like, yo, you fucking crazy.
No, when I told my parents I was going to quit my city job and become a DJ,
it was crazy.
They thought I was out of my mind.
Out of your mind. But now,
and they said, you know what they say? They're like, yo, you going to leave a city job where you have healthcare,
benefits.
Everything we talked about that the DJs don't have,
social security.
My parents was like, are you going to leave all that just to be a DJ full time? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so crazy 20, 30 years ago. But now it's like, it's
kind of normal now.
It's normalized.
It's a usual, it's a normal thing to do.
It's normalized.
Yeah. Not having a normal job is, you know.
Exactly.
The normal schedule and.
Like the 9-to-5 schedule.
Right. Like, but it was like, we were such black sheeps at that time. And it was just like, and it's like, oh shit, you're able to pay your rent. You're thriving off of DJing. People would just look at me. I would go to like dinners. Remember?
I had a funny story. I went to the Apple store in New York when I was visiting, and some guy was helping me. He was like, I don't know where this came from, but he's like, oh, what you do? I'm like, I'm a DJ. This was like back in 2003 or 4.
Yeah.
Then after I finished paying for everything, he was like, oh, good luck with that DJ thing.
Oh,
And I just started laughing. I'm like, all right, man.
It's just like, you know, like the fact that I was telling him like we don't, like, I'm not trying to be like Diplo. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like as a DJ, you have to know what you want.
So Crooked, if you don't want to be Diplo, where do you want to go? What do you want to be from me?
I guess what I want is, in the end of it, is I want some new experiences. I want some new challenges. You know, when I think of my last 10 years with Skam Artist, it reminds me of like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get on this ride. There's all these ups and downs, you know, there's great times, great moments with great people. There's downs, you know, there's struggles, you know, there's confrontations, there's issues, incidents, but then it goes back up and it goes back down. And then the ride ends, but then, you know, you kind of go on the ride again because it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's like let's go on it again. Let's do it again. And so you keep doing it. And along the way, some people hop off the ride. Some new people join the ride.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's changing. The experience changes, but I think I'm at a point where the ride is just getting repetitive.
Yeah.
And it's just it's not fun like it used to be no more. Mm-hmm. So like I think like right now, you know, on this Skam roller coaster, I think it's just time, you know, to like hop off the ride and try some new rides. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, man, I don't want to hop off because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like the other ride as much as this. And it's just like,
and because it's comfortable and you already know that ride.
Yeah, I know this ride. You know, you know, it's like, so, you know, I want some new experiences, and if that requires me to take a risk, you know, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take that risk and hop on this new ride, this Sleeping Giant ride or SGM ride, you know? Just like I've taken a risk to do the new ride or the R.O.A.D podcast ride or any other ventures or journeys that I've taken. It's just like, you just need to constantly change it up.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what I want is new experiences. And I want to get off the ride. I want to try new shit. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That makes total sense, man.
I think we can end it here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good ending point here.
And, you know, I don't know what motherfuckers expected from this episode, but this is what you're going to get.
They want a summer jam. That's what they wanted.
All right, y'all. Until next time, you know, and the thing is this, man, if we have more to talk about any of this shit as we go forward, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
but as of right now, this is what, you know.
This is where we at.
This is where we at. Yeah. All right, y'all.
Peace.
All right, peace.
Peace.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.